Index separations are interesting little creatures, to say the least, and can add a new twist to your art department. Index seps do not use traditional halftones. They break down the image into channels containing small squares. The squares, or the size of the squares, are determined upon the original image resolution of the file. If you start with a file at 150 dpi, you're going to get larger squares as opposed to a file that starts at 200 dpi. And that's pretty much the given range with index seps, is to go from 150 to 200. Above 200 I don't recommend at all. Using file resolutions below 150 and you start running into kind of a rough stippled effect, which can look actually pretty good with some files, so please experiment with that. QuikSeps offers the user two different methods to generate index separations. The first being totally automated, as it generates 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 color index separations. These colors are in addition to the underbase and highlight. And I highly recommend that you try one of the completely automated actions on your artwork prior to attempting a custom index. So, if none of these work, or if your artwork is highly concentrated to specific colors which must be matched, then your only choice is to go with custom index, and that consists of two actions: custom index go number 1 and 2. Number 1 starts the process by pulling the underbase highlight and also guides the user into selecting the amount of colors you attempt to use within your image. Number 2 guides the user through generating the index color channels themselves. Let's run an automated 4-color index separation on our sample file. This process takes a little longer to run than some of the other procedures. After a short while, a message box will pop up, and you need to follow these instructions carefully. It says, when the bitmap box appears, make certain the output resolution is the same as the input resolution, and diffusion dither is selected. Let's click continue, and the bitmap box will appear. As you can see, our input resolution for this file is 200 dpi. That means our image started out as a 200 dpi image. The output resolution must match. If it doesn't, change it. In this case, we're going to change it to 200 to match the input. Underneath method here, we have to make sure that this is changed to diffusion dither. Once that's set, click OK. Now you're going to be presented with the same message 2 more times, a total of 3 times. Let's click continue. The next time this comes up, all of these should be correct, so simply click OK. The third time, make sure they're the same, and they should be, and let's click OK again. The index separation process has now been complete. Now, as you can see here, QuikSeps Professional did a very good job at running an index sep on this particular piece of art. Let's zoom in and take a closer look. And here you can see the small squares I was discussing. They look extremely horrible when you zoom in close. However, these transition into one another very smoothly on press, and you'll be surprised the outrageous photo quality you can get from an index separation properly done. Let's take a look at the individual channels. We have the underbase, the blue 299, red 032, yellow 107, black, a light highlight white, which you're probably going to use 90% of the time, and a dark highlight in the event that you need it. Turning on all the channels again. And you can see the results are fairly good. Now, one of the beauties with index separations is that it's ready to go. You just output the films and make your screens and print your job. That's the good part. The bad part is that it's ready to go and can't be adjusted. That's right. Once the file has been indexed, it's impervious to any curves, levels, or any form of adjustment within Photoshop. There's nothing you could do to it because each channel is actually a bitmap, and bitmaps cannot be adjusted. So if there's something that you don't like about your index separation, well, your only recourse is to do it over again. Now let's run a custom index separation on the same file. Start by clicking the Custom Index Go number 1 action. In a short while, the same message box will appear as it did within the automated index action. In the bitmap box, make certain that the output and input resolutions match. If not, change it. Also make certain that diffusion dither is selected and click OK. We'll be presented with this twice more. And now an important part of the custom index separation is upon us, and the end user needs to follow these message boxes carefully. We don't need to read them now since I'm going to be showing you exactly what to do. So let's just click Continue a few times. When the index box appears, uncheck Preview. On the bottom, make certain Diffusion is selected and the amount is 75%. Now let's go to Palette and choose Custom. The custom color table now appears. Now here is where we'll select the colors themselves used within the separation. Start by clicking the white box next to the black. When the color picker window opens, use the eyedropper, and this time we'll select the yellow. Click OK. Select the next color by clicking the white box next to the yellow. And now we'll look for the blue. Now that blue would be too dark. So would that, but we're getting close, and that would be too light. We need the perfect shade of blue. Now this is very close, but we'd like to clean it up a little bit. Getting very pure tones, especially with the reds, blues, and yellows, is extremely important. Sometimes it's extremely difficult to pick that perfect color from the image itself, and it needs to be adjusted a little bit within the color picker window. So let's take the circle here and move it. And now I think we've got a very pure and clean shade of blue that's going to integrate well within the image. Click OK. The last color needed is that orangey red. Let's zoom out a little bit. Click the white box next to the blue and pick that orangey red. Right about there looks good. Let's click OK. OK, and then once more. The first part of the action is complete, and the program is instructing you to use the Custom Index Go number 2 action. If you look at the artwork in the back, it's very grainy. However, the final separation will look absolutely perfect. Click Stop. Upon completion of the Custom Index number 1 action, we're left with a file containing a composite index channel that holds all the color information, an underbase, highlight white, and dark highlight white. What's needed to be done now is to extract individual index channels from the composite. And we do that by running the custom index go number 2 action. And this works very similar to our spot color action run previously. First, let's zoom in on our image a little bit. And now let's run the action. What we need to do is make sure that the fuzziness is set at 0 for every color selected. Now take the eyedropper and we're going to select the yellow and click OK. Click Continue. And when the new channel window opens, click the color box. When the color picker window opens, select the foreground color in Photoshop's tool palette. Click OK and then OK again. Now, an index spot channel has been generated for the yellow. This procedure needs to be repeated for each color within the design, and this is very simple to do. Run the action again. Now we'll select the blue. Click OK. And we're just going to repeat that same procedure here. Clicking the foreground color, OK, then OK again. And now we have a yellow and the blue. Let's run the same action again. We'll choose that orangey red. Click OK. And now we have 3 color channels selected. The last will be the black. Click Continue. Find the black within the image. Click OK. One last time, click the color box. When the picker window opens, select the foreground color. OK, then OK again. All our top colors have now been selected. From this point, we can delete our composite index channel and move our highlight whites to the bottom and take a look at the image. We have the underbase, yellow, blue, orangey red, black, and the highlight. And I lived up to my promise. The separation appears perfect now, and it should print exactly like this. About the only thing you would need to do is change the names of spot color 1, 2, 3, and 4 to reflect their actual color. And I think we've went through this before, but one more time, we'll just double-click spot color 1 and change it to yellow 107. And do the same with the spot color 2, 3, and 4 channels. The custom index separation is now ready for output to film.